When it comes to the hobby, we all love a deal.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and we have a big unbox and review video for you today. So the Christmas Battleforces are here for 2020, and well, if you can find them, they have some pretty interesting values, which we're going to cover here in a second. Now, I'm not going to open up every single one of these Battleforces here, even though I bought them all. And I paid quite a bit for them because I believe in supporting our local game stores. Because without them, the hobby's going to be a very different place. So I think it's very important that we do what we can right now for our local retailers, that we like and we enjoy. Of course, there's horror stories out there on both sides of the GW store and the local game store kind of coin. But I think right now, the important thing to talk about is the values inside of these boxes, and also that some stores were able to get more of these boxes. So if you didn't get them at the start of the month, and you haven't been able to find them on the secondary market for a reasonable price, then chances are that when your local game store has a restock come in, they may have a few of these on it. So look for them closer to Christmas, maybe another wave, we'll call it, of these things to actually hit stores, hopefully in the near future before the Christmas holiday, which would be really cool, right? So let's get to it. So first off, there's 4 Age of Sigmar Battleforces and 6 40K Battleforces, and they all range between at least $200 to $210, which is up from a $170 to $210 price tag back in 2019. Now I'll show you the articles where we broke them all down and give you all the values and everything on it. I'm not going to open up each box because we really don't need to do that because there's nothing new in these things. But I do want you to at least see, if you got one of these, what basically is going to come in. So first Battleforce right here is the Caradon Overlord Battleforce. This one actually isn't too bad. Caradon Overlords are actually doing okay right now. One of the ones that sold out the fastest was the Ogre Maw Tribes one. Now this one's pretty stacked. It does come with 2 of the Iron Guts here, or 2 of the Iron Blasters, the larger Iron Gut Duders here, and then you've got a whole bunch of Gluttons, and then this guy, which is sort of new, but you can still get him separately, and now he's in here. You get half of a giant. I don't know which side is which right now. You get half of a giant right there, because I think the box is like 120 or 125 now. If you just want to play Gargants. Disciples of Tzeentch. Now this one's kind of cool because it's got a big bird in it, right? That's pretty good value, and then a whole bunch of Alkalites. This one actually, I think for the most part, well, they're not Zangor, so you won't be able to play this in 40K completely, but you could use it in 40K. And then the Gloomspite Gets. We saw something similar to this last year, but this one does come with Boss Trog, so that's kind of neat. And the guy here, the boss on Squig out of Loon Curse combo bot. And for 40K, like I said, there's 6 of them. You got a guard one right here, which is pretty loaded down. We hadn't seen the Hydra offered in a combo box format before. Unfortunately, there is an Leman Russ in here, which some people have been pretty vocal about online. The Chaos one is interesting because it comes with one of the Mauler Fiends right here, which we hadn't seen in a combo box format. And then of course Obsidious Malax, I think his name was, the big baddie from Blackstone Fortress, which is now just generic Chaos Lord number 52. And then the Brood Swarm, which has a lot of stuff in here we've seen in the past, but it's got the Tyrant Guard, and it's got this guy right here, it's got 2 different versions. You can build the Horsepex or is it the Malefactor? I forget. So many models, it's hard to remember all the names. One of the more popular ones, I'm sure, is going to be the Space Marine one right here, which is pretty dope value if you didn't get any of the Vanguard kind of stuff here. But if you did, and you want the multi-parts, this one might be pretty good for you. But I think the key here is that it's going to come with the Impulsor. And it's also going to come with the War Suit, which is pretty nice. Necron 1 sold out pretty much immediately on GW's site. It's the Eradicator Legion. All of this stuff, I believe, is also sold out on their site. So if you can actually get one of these, well, you'll have access to a lot of the units, besides the Necron Warriors, of course, that are sold out on our site. But those Necron Warriors are the ones that come in Indominus, so I think pretty much everybody has them at this point. And then we got more Tau. So I think this is the third year in a row we've had a Tau one, and this one comes with a Piranha. Yay, Tau. Now, before we start talking about the values on the current Battleforces here, and my cat is trying to jump in the big box that I managed to put all of these in, let's go back and talk about, there he is, cats like boxes, it are fact. Let's talk about last year's Battleforces, right? So, in our article we put out last year, you can see that the values, or the cost rather, go from about 170 to 200-ish. And then here you can kind of see the total savings. Like this one was 90, this one was 95, 70, 75, 76, 100, 80. I think it ended up averaging around $75. Now, if we go back to this year's, now remember this year's is either 200 or 210, but the thing is, all of these seem to have higher value. 92, 99, 90, big chunk of it, 104, 109, 80, what is that, 103 for the Tyranids. And then on the Sigmar side, it's kind of crazy because all of these are pretty high value. So 210 for the Ogres, that's $100 in value, $90 in value, 102 in value, 98 in value. So this year, all the Battleforces are going to cost you $30 to $40 more in most cases, but you're going to get roughly $20 to $30 ish more in value. So it's kind of like what Games Workshop's doing with the new combat patrols going away from the start collectings. They're $140 instead of 95 or 100 that we are used to. So you're paying $30 more, but you're getting more value. Now, does that line up with everybody's hobby dollars? Well, that remains to be seen, but it is the way it is, I suppose, for right now. So I think the key with this year might be just the fact that if you can find these things, you know that you're gonna save some money at least, even though they might be a little bit higher on the front end, but you might still save. So I think looking for potentially that rumored second wave that we've heard from a lot of retailers that it's coming with their restock, they don't know when, hopefully before Christmas, that I think if you can catch them then, that might be a really good time to buy these things. So that's why I'm kind of making this video. They're hard to get right now, so I was kind of like, I'm not going to make this video, but I think it's definitely worth talking about now. So I'll put the links to all these articles up in our video below and in the comments, so you can check out all the the value and stuff like that on each one of these for 2020, and you can compare them back to 2019. But I at least wanted to open up two of them, one for Sigmar and one for 40K, and just kind of show you what it's like, what's on the inside, and what basically what the big deal is all about. So for Sigmar, we'll take a look at the Ogre Maw Tribes box, and then just jumping back to what we saw earlier. This is the value. So this particular one is probably 210. Yep, it's 210. You're going to get the Tyrant for 35. I actually think he might be higher. I think he might be 40. 2 squads of Gluttons for 98. The Iron Guts for 40. The Lead Belchers for 40. The Iron Blaster for 35. And one of the Giants, the Man Crusher, 62.50. If you divide it by half, because now they're $125 for a box, but I believe before they made them a 2-pack, it was $65 for that guy. So you could say it's 65. I don't know. It's an extra $3 in there. Maybe at that point, you basically get $100 in value for 210, give or take, depending on what you value that little guy at right there. So what's that mean? Well, you could look at a couple of different configurations here, I suppose. As far as like, hey, we've seen some of this before, right? Like this particular set is basically half of the Feast of Bones. Remember that box with the Bone Reapers, the Ossiarch Bone Reapers? You got half of these guys, so in each one you only got 2. You did get this, you got some Gluttons, and you got this guy, because him and the little prophet dude, Herald guy, I forget what his name was, were the only thing that was different in that box. Those were new releases. So they basically took another half, doubled it up, and then profit? I don't know. They threw in this guy here, and Yeah, profit. I guess that's kind of how they went with it. So it's kind of a configuration we've seen before. Now, this is the chunkiest one for Sigmar, as far as, I mean, this thing's like a good 4 inches thick. Sometimes it's all about the girth, right? So opening this bad boy up, and you can see it's got a lot of sprues. I do like how they shrink wrap the bases, which is kind of nice. Now, depending on what box you buy, sometimes the bases is all sorts of all over the place configuration. And then you just kind of have to dig through it to figure out the whole sprues and what's what, because this is a giant sprue here, and this is a giant sprue all the way down here. So that's kind of how they do. But generally, they give you a separate instruction for each one, which is nice. So you're going to get lead belchers, iron guts, the iron blaster, the gluttons. But if you get 2 squads in here, so you only got one instruction for them. And then you can make, you know, the Man Crusher or the Chaos Gargant right there. So that's basically how these things are going to come. They're not very, you know, they're not divided up by squad or anything like that. You're just going to kind of have to go through and figure this one out for yourself. Now, what is nice, though, is, let me move this out of the way. One of the ways that you can kind of tell, besides going to Games Workshop site, if you're confused about like, hey, I don't know what is what in here, you can go right back here. And it'll tell you. It'll be like, hey, in this box, pretty pictures, but more importantly, these are the squads that it's going to come with right here, so you can kind of figure it out. Now, these little Noblars come, those guys, I forget what those guys, I think those guys come with them. I don't think they come with the Gluttons, but they might come with the Gluttons, I forget. And then, so 2 squads of Gluttons and then all of that, and that's basically how it is divided up, how it will come in this box. On the 40K side of things, we'll take a look at the Interdiction Force for Space Marines. Now, this is basically a little bit more than a combat patrol, right? Because this one goes for what, $200. Let's jump over and take a look at the site. So here is, so it's $200, and it's basically a $60 more than a combat patrol. And the combat patrols are coming with basically the same sort of stuff here, although sometimes you do get the intercessors instead of the infiltrators and what are these guys? I don't even know anymore. I forgot. Oh, Reavers. So many words. So is there value here? Well, you know, there is. You got the Captain of Phobos armor, which we saw come out separately. Actually, he was part of Shadow Spear, and then he came out separately, and now he's packaged into this stuff here. So that's $36. You get the multi-part infiltrator /incursors, because their incursors didn't come in a Shadow Spear box, or the Start Collecting Vanguard Space Marine box. You only get the push fit, easy to build infiltrators. That's $60. Then you get the Reavers for $60. Then you get the Invictor Tactical Warsuit for $60 and an Impulsor Transport, which is $75. Now the Gladiator tank just came out. That's $80, so it's technically $5 more for both kits. And we show you how to build both kits actually in our latest unboxing video, which may or may not be up right now. I don't know. I'm living in a time warp. It's 2020. Who knows when stuff comes out anymore, right? So, but look for it up on the channel so you can see how to build all those kits, including the Impulsor itself. Oh, there might be an upgrade kit you can buy too if you need that right there. Now, jumping back to the desk over here, we've got the Interdiction Force. Now, this one right here is super small compared to the Ogre one, which, you know, kind of makes sense. But again, just like the Ogre or Ogre's Ogre Kingdom one, whatever one you want to call it right there. This bad boy has stuff everywhere. So you get a couple of instruction pamphlets right there, and then you basically have to dig through it and kind of figure out what's what. You got the Impulsor instructions, the Tactical Warsuit instructions, and then you got all of your bases and things just kind of strewed about. You get one bag of them, Primaris Captain. So it's a little bit of a detective work, but like I said earlier, you can just look at the back of the box and kind of figure out what is supposed to go where. Now, we've showed you unboxing builds of all this stuff right here, believe it or not, how to magnetize things. We actually show you how to build all the variants of this and actually have it so he can grab that little heavy bolter and have it magnetized in his hand too. That was a fun one. The Impulsor and now the Gladiator too. So I think we showed you actually how to build all of this stuff here. So long story short, are the Christmas Battleforces for you? And I think they're pretty much for everybody. It's just unfortunate that Games Workshop didn't put out as many of them this go around and kind of allocated them, but hopefully stores will see a few more of these hit the shelves before the Christmas holiday in that big rumored wave 2 that might be hitting very soon. But other than that, you know, if you see them on the shelf and it's your thing, you might want to pick them up right now because there is savings to be had as long as you can find these pretty much on store shelves and not pay a premium on the secondary market, which seems to be the case right now in 2020, unfortunately. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching our unboxing of some of the new 10 Battleforces from Games Workshop for Warhammer 40k and, of course, Age of Sigmar. So as always, you know, you can always get your hobbies for less from dicehead.com or Amazon or your local game store, but chances are they're all sold out of these. So just find them where you can. That's all we can do anymore.